So starting the test drive in this Tacoma here, the 2.4 has pretty good pickup. I like the blow-off valve sound that you get here. Sounds like a big beefy truck even though it's just a 2.4 liter turbo. But all in all, pretty quiet in here so far. And I have the driving support system engaged now, so we have the lane tracing, the adaptive cruise. Even on this 2-lane highway here, does a pretty good job keeping everything together. And I do like that you can adjust the gap. Most vehicles, it's like 3 stages, but here you have 4 different ways to adjust the distance you want to have between yourself and the vehicle in front of you. But so far so good in terms of the ride quality. Just a bit bouncy, and I've said this before about the Tacomas, but not really a big deal. Still not uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Just something that you notice. Now I will say, comparing this to the new Colorado and Ranger, I do think the ride quality on those is a bit better than this here. Now, I'm on industrial roads when I test drive the Tacoma here in Manchester, as opposed to, I guess, a more suburban area that I'm in when I test drive the GMs and the Fords. So those might ride the same on this rougher road that, as you can see, has dump trucks and 18-wheelers going down all day. And I don't remember the last time this road's been paved. But from the driver perspective, I like the 2.4 in this truck. Again, it sounds good. People that are coming from an older Tacoma might appreciate just how rugged this thing actually is. I like having the turbo 4 as opposed to the naturally aspirated 4. Now the V6, especially with that one having such a high displacement with a 4-liter, you might be lacking just a tad if you're going to this. Me personally, I like having the feel of a turbocharger over a V6. And a V8, it's about what and what in terms of the feeling of power. Obviously, the V8 uses more gas, a bit more powerful usually. But for most people, this is gonna be just fine because most people aren't gonna be testing the limits of their truck when they get it. It's gonna be probably 90% used for work and then 10% for light hauling or towing or something like that. Visibility's good, the hood slopes down. This here is kind of in the way, just where the dash kind of dips up, but not in a big way. I can still see the hood just fine. If anything, it's just kind of a nuisance. But the space in here is good, and one of the reasons I like these newer trucks in particular is because there's a lot of room for my longer legs and my kneecaps especially to move about, but then also tons of space for my hand, but it's still very easy to reach everything. And as the road's kind of smoothed out, it does feel a bit better here. Now with this one being the more basic truck, I don't think we have the option for drive modes, but I think in the higher trims, you are able to fool with that. But we are gonna put it into the manual mode and see how it does getting up to speed here. Here we go. Now, I wasn't thrashing it by any means. I just gave it a little something, and it still did a great job getting up to speed there. Let's get everything going. So, full driving support system on, the lane centering, the adaptive cruise, and a great system by Toyota. And I say this every time I get behind the wheel of one. And I want to give one more thanks to John Roberts Toyota for allowing me to review this Tacoma today. I'll leave a link below in the description. But if you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click on that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But for the money that you have to give up for this truck, especially with the discounts that John Roberts has, I think it's a pretty solid deal, just because the powertrain warranties are so good now. A lot of these dealers offer lifetime powertrain warranties, and that really just makes a big difference in terms of just how people are feeling about these new, specifically turbocharged 4-cylinders in these pickup trucks. And they're just doing a great job, I think, in terms of just getting good fuel economy while also cutting down on emissions, I guess. But they're still just as capable. And the ride quality coming down the interstate here is definitely improved as opposed to how it was on that industrial road there. And one thing I'm figuring out is I think it's more of when this hits bumps, they're rough, but the truck doesn't ride that roughly, I don't think. Just on rougher pavement, you can feel it, if that makes sense. But especially for that under 34 grand price that John Roberts is offering this truck for, I don't think you can go wrong with it. Especially with, you know, the tariff situation, not knowing if that's going to make things better or worse long-term, short-term, on new vehicles or even used vehicles. So if you can get something with a 4 grand discount on a 38 grand truck, I say, why not? But with all that being said, this is going to bring me to the end of my review of this 2025 Toyota Tacoma SR.